My wife cheated with our best man, then staged a fire in our house, losing $250, $0 worth of jewelry and heirlooms. And now she's suing me for half of our $2 million estate over a shady prenup I never signed. I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. It all started with a gut feeling, you know. Little things that didn't add up, signs I ignored because I didn't want to believe it. My wife always seemed a little distant lately, spending more time on her phone, brushing off plans, and giving me that fake smile when I'd ask how her day was. At first, I chalked it up to work stress or her just being busy, but then I noticed the little things. Her phone always locked, secretive texts that disappeared quickly, late nights out that she'd brush off as work drinks or catching up with friends. We'd been married for 7 years, solid, or so I thought. I built a decent life for us, made good money, invested in a house I thought was our future. But I started feeling like I was losing her, or maybe I was just paranoid. Still, something gnawed at me and I kept my eyes open. I didn't want to be that guy who snoops, but sometimes you just get a feeling. One night I came home early from work because I wasn't feeling well, and I decided to check her phone after she went to bed. Honestly, I didn't expect much, just a quick peek to put my mind at ease. What I found made my stomach drop. There were messages, flirty, suggestive, and way too intimate. Not just with some random guy, but with our best man, Jake. They'd been texting for months, talking about meeting up, sharing secrets, making plans. I saw pictures, her in bed with him, smiling, touching, laughing. They even had conversations about how much she hated her marriage, how I was too busy or too dull, and how Jake made her feel alive. I couldn't believe it. It was like a knife twisting in my gut. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious all at once. I stayed up all night staring at those messages, trying to process what I'd just uncovered. The next morning, I confronted her. I woke her up early, voice trembling but trying to keep it calm. I showed her the messages. Her reaction was pure bullshit. She looked at me like I just accused her of murder, then started lying right away. "It's not what it looks like," she said, voice high-pitched and defensive. "Jake and I are just friends. You're overreacting. You're paranoid. We're just talking about the wedding planning, I swear." She tried to deny everything, but I wasn't buying it. The evidence was right there. I asked her how long this had been going on, and she shrugged, said it was just a fling, that she didn't mean for it to happen. That's when I realized she had no remorse, no shame, just cold denial. That moment hit me like a freight train. I felt sick, betrayed, and stupid for not seeing it sooner. How could she do this? How could she lie so effortlessly? It was like the woman I loved, the woman I trusted, was a total stranger. I spent the rest of the day in a haze, angry, hurt, trying to understand how everything fell apart so quickly. I thought about all the sacrifices I made, the way I worked hard to provide for us, and how she repaid me with this betrayal. I couldn't sleep that night, replaying every moment, every sign I missed. It was clear she'd been cheating on me with Jake, planning it behind my back, and now she was acting innocent. But I knew better. This wasn't just some fling. It was a full-blown affair, and I was the last to find out. After that confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't look at the same way. She tried to play it off, act like it was nothing, like I was overreacting. She kept insisting it was just sex, nothing serious, and that Jake was a mistake. But I saw through her lies. I knew her well enough to see she was just trying to keep me from flipping out more. Honestly, I was already past that point. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak, and I knew I had to figure out what to do next. I started digging into her phone more, trying to understand the scope of this thing. That's when I found out she'd been sneaking around with Jake for almost a year. They met up at hotels, had secret rendezvous, and even gone on a few trips. Together, I found receipts for hotel stays, airplane tickets, and even a little stash of cash she'd been hiding. It all added up to a long-term affair, not just some quick fling. The worst part, she was so brazen about it. She'd tell her friends they were just friends, but I knew better. I'd seen the messages, the pictures, the way she looked at him when she thought I wasn't paying attention. But it wasn't just the affair that broke me. It was the way she lied, the way she tried to gaslight me. She'd say I was paranoid, that I was imagining things. She accused me of not trusting her, of being insecure. She even threw in some classic lines: "You're just jealous. You don't understand our connection, and it's not what you think." I felt like I was losing my mind. How could the woman I loved betray me so openly? She was acting like she was the victim, like I was the crazy one for suspecting her. In the days that followed, I started noticing more signs. She'd disappear for hours, always with her phone glued to her hand. She'd get calls and quickly step outside or into another room. She'd come home late, smelling like perfume I didn't recognize. I even found her wearing jewelry I'd never seen before, diamonds she claimed she bought herself but I knew she didn't have the money for. All these little things added up, confirming my worst fears. She was cheating, lying, and making a fool of me. Then, out of the blue, she told me she was done with Jake, that she was going to break it off. I didn't buy it. I knew better. I told her I wanted her out of the house, that I wasn't going to live with a cheater. That's when she played her trump card. She accused me of controlling her, said I was paranoid, and started talking about divorce. She claimed I was overreacting, that I was ruining everything. Honestly, I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I loved her, but I couldn't ignore what I'd seen, what I knew. I'd been, and now I was just trying to keep my head above water. It was around that time I started thinking about revenge. I wasn't just going to let her walk away with everything: her affair, her lies, her betrayal. I had a lot of money invested in this marriage, and I wasn't about to let her take half of it for cheating on me. I remembered the prenup she kept claiming was shady, but I never signed anything. That was a lie, too. I'd been so caught up in work and trying to make our lives better, I never really looked into it. Turns out, she'd been planning this all along, trying to squeeze me for as much as she could. The more I dug, the more I realized she was trying to set me up for a fall. And then came the fire. One night I came home to chaos, smoke everywhere, flames licking the walls, and my jewelry and heirlooms, worth over $250, $0, gone in an instant. She called it an accident, claiming she'd fallen asleep with a candle lit or some such bullshit. But I knew better. I had my suspicions about her motives, especially after the affair was exposed. She'd been desperate to get her hands on the estate, and I had a sinking feeling that this fire wasn't accidental. It was staged. She wanted to destroy evidence, wipe out anything that could tie her to the affair or her shady plans. Now she's suing me for half of our $1.2 million estate, claiming I never signed a prenup that she insists is shady. That's her latest game, trying to squeeze me even more after all she's done. I never signed that prenup because I never agreed to it. She's lying, trying to use that as leverage.